What is one word to describe the U.S.?
I would say self-centered is probably what I'd use.
Ooh,
Not necessarily
no.
in like a mean way,
Okay.
because I think there are positive spins, but I can't think of a better word for it. But like Americans tend to view themselves as the default. When you're talking about something on an international scale or a global scale, they still view their standards as the default for things. But also like it comes in a positive way as well because they care a lot about like the way they live, whereas like British people are more willing to just keep calm and carry on, kind of just get through it.
When you say default, what do you mean by default? As in like
Anytime you look at some sort of political talk online or something, if someone starts talking about the state of politics at a more global level, an American person is inevitably going to say no. But in the US, and it's like, okay, we're not talking about just the US.
Okay.
And it's always my way is the default.
Exactly. It's because we live in a bubble, to be fair. But then we have to do our best to like look outside the U.S.
Exactly.
as Americans.
It's like a lack of education that you then don't put any effort into overcoming.
I don't think Americans in the United States realize how the rest of the world sees us. Let me give you an example. A while back, I was having a conversation with my friend. Now, my friend lives here in Mexico. She's Mexican, and her daughter was going to study in the United States, or thinking about going to study in the United States for university. And she was saying to me how worried she was for her daughter to go study in the US because it is so dangerous. She was like, I don't know, there's so much gun violence. I don't know if it's safe. I was saying to her, you should be fine, avoid these places at night, avoid these cities. And then as I was saying it, it hit me. As a US citizen that lives in Mexico, this is something that I hear all the time about going to Mexico. People will say to me, I don't like you going to Mexico, it's so dangerous. Did you see the news? But the same exact thing is being said and happening about people going to visit the United States, especially right now. Growing up, we're so indoctrinated to believe that we are so lucky to be born in the United States, this place where only we have freedoms and safety. But from the outside looking in, it's completely different. People see mass shootings, gun violence, police violence, and now a government restricting rights. And they worry for their people going to visit the United States.
Everyone is looking at America right now asking, why aren't Americans doing anything about their government? And of course, the excuses have started to pour in, but I can actually explain in just 3 words: bread and circuses. In ancient Rome, the writer Juvenal wrote 16 satires. He described how although the average Roman citizen struggled to survive, and socially their society was collapsing around them in many ways, if they were provided with bread or food and circuses or entertainment, they likely wouldn't do anything about the material conditions they were forced to live in. Sound familiar? Of course, Americans won't do anything about Donald Trump because the Super Bowl is coming up. And after the Super Bowl, another sporting event, another reality TV show. This is the country with the most fast food restaurants in the world, the country that consumes more resources per person than any other country in the world, even though it only makes up 5% of the world's total population. These are the people who line up for hours, trampling over one another to buy overpriced water bottles, plastic-shaped beer cup that will eventually end up in a landfill when the next trend comes along.
Okay, I want to take a moment to say thank you to Donald Trump, not out of praise, but out of truth. Because while you rip through every part of this government, tearing down justice, equality, and fairness under the fake excuse of fighting DEI fraud, what you're really doing is confirming what Black folks have been saying for generations. America was built on racism, fueled by fear and sustained by white supremacy. You've exposed it all. The masks are off. The polite racism, the fake allyship, the colorblind lies, it's all gone. Now we see it raw and unfiltered.
I created a series on how the world views the US. It has been viewed over 100 million times, and I have hundreds of thousands of comments from people all over the world. So I'm uniquely qualified to comment on how the rest of the world sees people in the US. And to my fellow Americans, I'm going to hold your hand while I say this. We are not well liked. We are downright hated by so many people in so many other countries. We are an active threat to the rest of the world. We elected a dangerous human being and put him in charge of things that affect people all around the globe.
The America that I once knew is gone. That's what I see people say online, especially young people. And I go, then you never knew your country. And I'm finding a lot of people never really understood or knew America. You didn't study your history, or you only understood the history that you were taught in school, which is actually propaganda, not real history. It was designed to make you docile, designed to make you compliant, to believe that the country that you live in is perfect, it cares about equality, cares about the life condition and the living condition of its citizens. None of that shit was ever true. It was all propaganda. You were taught if you work hard, you're gonna grow up and you're gonna be able to make a lot of money, or at least make decent money to support your family, and you won't have to burn the candle at both ends. All that shit was a lie. It was designed to just get you to continue to be compliant as you were moving through the system and growing up and moving through it. But the country, what you see America doing right now, is exactly who America is.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well today. So on today's focus, you have probably, if you've seen most of my videos, or rather my previous videos, I was talking about why the Black communities, or rather the Black Americans, are declining war with the ICE, and they said they're not going to be part of it. And most of you were wondering, like, this should be our fight, both of us. We should be fighting the ICE and we should be marching together. But I tried to explain why the Black people are so reluctant into this movement. And ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you up to speed. So probably most of you did not know, but the world has started to see the United States of America into a different angle. And I'm even surprised, because these are things, or rather these are grievances that the Black people, the Black community have been talking about since the beginning of time. And nobody listened. Nobody was willing to listen. But right now, because it's very chaotic and it's affecting everybody, it doesn't matter whether you're Black or white. The United States of America, the government, does not really care about where you came from, whether you're Black. Yeah, and you've seen like most of Asian and Hispanic people, Latinos and all that, they've been affected with the ICE situation, because now most of them are like, okay, fine, we didn't know we don't belong to America, and they need help, but the Black people are going to be very reluctant into this. So first of all, to bring you up to speed, you need to know that the US dollar, or rather the dollar itself as a currency, is not one of the strongest currency in the world. The strongest currency in the world is the Kuwait dinar, and even the British pound is more stronger than the dollar itself, and even the Swiss franc, among others. So in this category, you find that the dollar falls under top 10. So ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the Black people did not cross the ocean. They did not jump over mountains. They did not use the planes. They did not go somewhere else to colonize people. They did not manipulate people into becoming what they wanted them to do. This was a whole white idea. And this has been affecting different people in different angles. And the fact that the world will not listen, and then right now they're coming to realization, is really, really, really upsetting. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can see some of the produce and products that were able to be stolen from the African communities and taken to the United States of America and even parts of Europe. We are looking into gold and diamonds, which was stolen from South Africa, and some of them in Ghana. And if we focus more again, you will realize the copper that right now people are using was originally from Congo, and some of it was stolen from Congo and taken to parts of America and even Europe. And to make matters worse, or rather to be onto it, you should know that during colonization, the Black people were able to provide labor for the United States of America. Not only the United States of America, but even other parts of Europe. So if we come together and we decide to say that who, or rather which people built this nation, there was forced labor during that time. And most of you will not understand, because probably history have tried to hide that part that they cannot teach you about. And if they do, they only touch base into it. They don't go deeper into how this whole issue affected the Black people and the Black community as a whole. And in most cases, when we talk about successful people, or rather successful Black African communities who are based in the United States of America, you normally, most of the time, your brain is gonna click like, okay, let me talk about Jay-Z, let me talk about Rihanna, let me talk about, you have to be like in a musical industry, or maybe you're an athlete, not like, you guys are forgetting that we have some of the biggest, and we have billionaires. People are not even in the limelight. They are not even playing soccer. They're not playing any kind of that. First of all, I'm going to be talking about Madam CJ Walker, who specializes in the African hair products. Was rather one of the billionaire ladies that the American people had, and that was who? That was an African. We're not even talking, this woman was not involved in any athletes games, or rather what, because when we picture the black excellence, we just think that these people are athletes. All they do is for running, all they do is they do music. Yes, we do that, the black community do that, but then again, there is more to it. There is more to it that you need to learn. So let's talk about Robert Frederick Smith. This is the founder of Vista Equity, and one of also the millionaires that we have in the American setup, and as you can see, that is not an athlete. Again, we have David Lloyd Stewart, who owns the world's largest technology agencies. You get it? Yes. And if we cross over, we have Ben Carson. Probably you've read about Ben Carson, who is one of the best neurosurgeons, again, in the world as we speak. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Yvonne, just in case you're new here. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for staying. To my new subscribers, thank you and welcome. Let us be together, and yeah, share this video, like, comment. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know, what do you think the world should be directed right now, because it's so sad that this is the moment that people are realizing that, you know what, black people told us. I wish we listened. Until next time, see ya.